Okay, how about now? We're working now. All right. Welcome in, everybody. We'll get started. We'll get started now because I'm not feeling well, but we will get started here. I see that. Let's see. We got Chevy Killer, and we got Carol here, and we got a bunch of fucking trolls. Welcome, trolls. Fuck you all. I don't even want to be here tonight. I feel like shit. I still have a head injury, so
You are unmuted.
What's back in session? You may be seated.
Bring the witness in, please.
Just be mindful to step up and just remember you are still in.
So, jurors, before we begin, Mr. Lally, as you approach the podium there, when I tell you that I strike something from the record, I know I've told you before, that means you're not to consider it, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, with reference to, I believe before we broke, we were talking a bit about Julie Albert and Christopher Albert, correct?
Yes.
And how would you describe your relationship, if any, between Julie Albert and Christopher Albert prior to January 29, 2022?
Loose acquaintances?
People that you knew through your sister, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, with reference to the occasions that you had said where you may have been at the same place at the same time at a family function or something like that, over what period of time are we talking about, and about how many different instances of that occurred over those years?
Like I mentioned, they had never been to my house. It was either at my sister's home or at my parents' house. I might have been at the same function half a dozen times.
And at those times that you were at the same function a half a dozen times or so, how much interaction would you have with either Christopher Albert or Julie Albert or even Colin Albert at those functions?
Just casual conversation, be cordial, and just typical conversations, you know, hi, how's it going, things of that nature.
Now, with reference to these experiences or relationships or lack thereof that you had with Christopher and Julie Albert, what, if any, conversations did you have with your supervisors as far as superior officers within your unit in regard to this?
I explained the connection with my sister to the Albert family.
And who did you explain that to, sir?
That would be Sergeant Mechanic, Lieutenant Fanning, and Detective Lieutenant Tully.
All right, Trooper, I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up, maybe approach the microphone a little closer.
And just with respect to those disclosures, what specifically did you tell either Sergeant Mechanic or Lieutenant Fanning or Lieutenant Tully?
Basically, that the Alberts are my sister's friends. That I've been at some functions with them, and the only kind of connection with the Albert family is through my sister.
And just when you say the Alberts, as far as who specifically within the Alberts are you talking about that had a friendship with your sister?
Julie, Chris, and their son Colin.
Now, with regard to the investigation that you were conducting and the interviews that you conducted, what, if any, impact did those relationships have with regard to your interviews of them specifically or the investigation in total?
Zero. Absolutely zero impact on this investigation.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Sir, I'm showing you a document. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what do you recognize it to be?
It's a text message thread labeled Proctor Friends.
Now, over the course of your investigation, over the course of this case, are you aware that there were iCloud data that was obtained from your personal cell phone?
Yes.
And different text strings from that iCloud data from your personal cell phone, correct?
Correct.
And with respect to what has just been placed before you, is that an excerpt or piece from those particular messages?
It is.
And from the front page of that, can you tell the jury who are sort of the participants in this particular text communication?
There's several numbers that aren't identified. The three that are under kind of nicknames me and my buddies have for each other.
And generally speaking, just as far as the participants in this text communication, who are these people to you, and how do you know them? How long have you known them? Who are they?
The members on this text thread are close friends from junior high, first grade even.
So people you've known for years, is that correct?
Correct.
And do each of them live, or do any of them live within the general area at this time?
Some of them do, yes.
And so when some of them do, some of them do not, is that correct?
Correct.
And the ones that do not, how far away do they live?
As far away as Tennessee.
Now, with reference to this, there's an indication as far as the first message sent or last message sent from this particular text chain, correct?
I'm sorry, repeat the question, please.
Sure. Sort of towards the middle of the first page. Help direct your attention to that area. Is there any indication as far as the first message sent and the last message sent with respect to this text chain?
On the first page, yes.
And what is indicated as far as the first message and the last message?
The first message is, I need to brandish a gun more often. The last is, Chip, name of that BPD cop.
No, I'm sorry, sir. If I could direct your attention to the first page in this packet, page 2527. Do you see conversation details? I'm sorry, may I approach?
Yes.
Sir, if I could direct your attention to the right.
Okay.
Do you see what I was talking about now?
I do, sir.
And from that area labeled conversation details, there's a first message sent, date and time, and a last message sent, date and time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is the first message sent, date and time?
It's 10/18 of 2021 at 8:48 a.m. The last message sent is 8:31, 2022 at 11:19 p.m.
And is there also within that conversation details an indication as far as number of messages over that time frame within this communication?
There is.
And what does it list for number of messages?
It's 38,707.
And fair to say the packet that you have before you does not contain all 38,707 messages, correct?
That's correct.
The first message that you had, I believe, alluded to in reference to the first one listed within this communication, what date and time is that?
That was January 29th, 2022 at 10:36 p.m.
And who is that message from?
My friend who lives in Tennessee.
And what, if anything, did he send to the group?
I need to brandish a gun more often.
And if you know, what is that in reference to?
He just recently moved to Tennessee, and he was kind of, I think, making a joke as kind of the lifestyle down there where guns are more prominent or more common to be carried around there. So I interpreted that as a joke in that nature.
And the next message, sir, from that same page, 2527.
The next one is, it's bold.
And is there a name associated with that number that's in these?
No,
And do you know who that person is?
I don't.
And the next message, sir, from 10:52 p.m.
Chip, name of that BPD cop.
And Chip, who is that referring to, sir?
That is one of my nicknames I've had since maybe high school.
So a nickname that would be familiar amongst these group of friends in particular?
Yes.
And this time period when these text messages begin, sometime after 10:30 or 10:50 p.m. on January 29th, where are you and what are you doing in reference around that time period?
At this point in time, on the 29th, I'm home.
And that last text message, do you respond to that at approximately 10:53 p.m.?
Yes.
And what was your response?
John O'Keefe.
And the next message down from there, also at 10:53 p.m.?
Yes. He took custody of his sister's kids.
That's your response. There is another response above that, is that correct?
Yes.
And what does that say?
How old?
And you respond as far as he took custody of his sister's kids, correct?
Correct.
Skipping down a couple, do you see an entry at 10:53:49 p.m.?
Yes.
And that's from a 617 number, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is the response there?
Oh man, that's rough.
And following that, do you respond to the earlier query as far as age?
I do.
And what did you say?
Mid 40s.
Now, the next message below that, as far as indication of mid-40s, what is that?
His age.
No, I understand that. I'm sorry. The next message underneath that, sir.
I'm sorry. It's a Facebook link.
And do you recall what that Facebook link is to?
It's to John O'Keefe.
And is that something you sent or one of your friends sent?
One of my friends sent.
And the next message below, turning to now page 2529 at the top there, what is the next message that's sent?
What's that? Don't have the book anymore.
And as far as the book, what did you understand that to mean?
May we approach? Sure.
Hey, what up, Fiend? Yeah, they bullshitting on this sidebar. Yeah, you motherfuckers with the threats.
10-minute break. Okay.
You motherfuckers with the threat. Keep the shit up. All right. Now listen up, guys. Pardon me. We have to skip over. We're going to skip over this break. We're not going to sit around for 12 minutes or 15, however many. Keep your shit up with the fucking threats. Okay? Fuck you. And let me do a little announcement since we're sitting. All right, since we're here. Anyone have any problem with anything I post on this channel? Go ahead and unsubscribe and don't come back. Got it? All threats will be forwarded to police. I wish you would fucking come in my house. Come on. Yeah, I see none of the retards made it. I guess since it's not about Delphi, no one's going to come watch. So, yeah, fuck this channel anyway. I mean, you guys, fuck you. I don't give a fuck about Delphi. I'm not going to be doing nothing but Delphi just to keep people coming to the channel and grifting off of Delphi. So, fuck all of you anyway. I'm happy with my 10 people here. What a fucking shit show. Delphi maniacs. my day was perfect until I popped on the stream, you know, and then it's immediate psychos. You know, you motherfuckers are lame.
You are
Get the witness
unmuted.
back, please.
Yes, you mind stepping in, Cooper? Still on the oath?
Yes, sir. Proceed, Your Honor.
Yes.
Trooper, if I could direct you back to page 2529 within that packet before you. And below that text stating what's that, I don't have the book anymore. You respond, is that correct?
Yes.
And what is it that you say there?
This one is a nightmare. Forget about the kids. That's awful.
And sir, if I could direct your attention again within that same packet to 2532. And there's a message there sent at 10:56 p.m., is that correct?
Yes.
And who's that from?
A friend who lives in Tennessee.
And what does he say in that text?
I'm sure the owner of the house will receive some shit.
And you respond at 10:56 as well as 10:57, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is it that you respond?
My first response was nope. Homeowner is a Boston cop too.
And what, if anything, were you saying, or what was the purpose of that text in regard to the homeowner?
I was just letting him know that essentially Mr. O'Keefe is a Boston cop and the homeowner was a Boston cop as well.
Now, if I could turn your attention to 2533. And top of the page, sir, if you could read through that page as far as who's texting and what are they saying?
Again, for my friend from Tennessee and myself. I hope not, but I can't see it. I responded with, she waffled him. I looked at his body at the hospital. He was banged up.
Now, as far as the next text from a 781 number, what does that say?
Did he get beat up?
And you responded to that, is that correct?
I did.
The objection sustained as to form.
What, if any, response did you provide to that?
Nope.
Objection. The objection was to the former question and the answer.
I'll strike it.
Thank you.
Now, turning your attention to 2534. And from this page, sir, if you could, again, just read through as far as indicating to the jury who's speaking and what is being said.
From the start of the first text, so the owner of the house?
Yes.
So the owner of the house was a woman cop that beat him? That's what I initially thought after talking to Canton paramedic. Then I saw the guy.
And those last two are your responses, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the following text messages are from your friends, is that correct?
Yes.
What do they say?
Bear, let's focus. What does she waffle to mean? What's the story? I responded, she hit him with her car.
And the she that you're referring to there, who is that?
Miss Reed.
Now notice two things here. First, this asshole has already made up his mind that she ran him over. Right? That's his deal. Within hours of the finding of the body. Secondly, notice what's going on here. This is your prosecutor trying to introduce this material to soften the blow. So this is not the defense bringing up these text messages. Okay, so this prosecutor knows this shit is coming, right? He knows it's fucking coming. So he figured, yo, I'll bring this shit up first, soften the blow, so when the defense hammers him with his own words, it'll have less effect. So that's what we're dealing with right here. Isn't it funny? Isn't it? Yep. You see, the Delphi maniacs don't understand why I am showing you this. No, they'd rather talk about killing me and talk about my family, my parents, my kids. You know, come in with hate, try to ruin my life and my day. That's what they want to do because they're fucking Delphi maniacs. Listen, no one in Delphi wants that murder be solved. You understand? I'm showing you this for a reason. I don't know if you realize, but the swamp is being drained and the storm is upon us. That's what you are witnessing.
Now turning your attention to the next page, 2535. Again, if you could start at the top of the page and read through that page and just indicate to the jury who is talking and what is being said.
Okay. My friend in Tennessee states, okay, that's fucked up. I respond, intentional or not. Then another response, gotcha. He was frozen in the driveway and she didn't see him, question mark. That's another animal we won't be able to prove. And then I respond, they arrived at the house together, gone to an argument.
I didn't speak out loud or out of turn.
The objection's overruled.
Your Honor,
But
if I could say this, there needs to be an identifier of who's
I
speaking.
understand what you think the mix-up is. So, Mr. Lally, go back.
Thank you.
Sir, if you could please, again, start at the top of the page and just indicate.
No,
as you go
just after the, gotcha, he was frozen in the driveway, correct, Mr. Jackson?
That's correct, Your Honor. Thank you.
I respond, that's another animal we won't be able to prove. I follow that up. They arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left. 781 number responds with, what's the name of the Canton cop living in Canton? The other one involved.
And how do you respond to that, sir?
There's several other messages before I issue a response.
Objection again. Bottom of the page.
So it's not an objection, but Mr. Lally, why don't you point him?
So, sir, at the bottom of page 2535, you have a response. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what is that response?
They arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left.
Objection.
So it's going to be a matter you can address on cross.
There has to be some accuracy. If the reading
So
is-
I understand. So, Mr. Lally, why don't you go point for your witness?
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a HTML link. whiteout / Proctor iCloud / group chat Feb 2022. So you point out.
Can I see what you have for a second, please?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Lally, it's on there. Why don't you go show your witness? Why don't you just read it, Mr. Lally, and tell us who you attribute it to?
Sure. So, sir, what I'm asking you about is the bottom of page 2535, excuse me, 2535. You indicated biffed him, correct?
Correct.
What did you mean by that?
That Miss Reed had struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2537. Now, do you see a response toward the bottom of the page from yourself, January 29, 2022 at 11:04 p.m.?
Yes.
And can you read that response for the jury?
Yeah, but there'll be some serious charges brought on the girl.
And what did you mean by that, sir?
That throughout the course of the day, we had compelling evidence that Miss Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
And you have two responses from friends, the same friends, at the bottom of that page, 2537, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what are those responses?
Keep your voice up loud, please, Trooper Proctor. Jurors can't hear you.
Yes, Your Honor. Number ending in 5051. Got to be. I can only imagine what internal affairs of the BPD are trying to get out there. The second response, same number. She hot at least.
And turning your attention to the next page, 2538, at the top, if you could just read a series of responses from yourself, correct?
Yes, sir.
Read from those, sir.
Yep, so these came from me. From all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. She's a whack job. CUNT.
Objection.
So don't spell it. You have to. So these are your words, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
Cunt. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. Though. No ass.
And sir, what is it that you were referring to there, or why would you text that?
These were, from all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. Is talking about the homeowner, Mr. Albert. I had mentioned the compelling evidence against Miss Reed at this point indicated that Mr. Albert had nothing to do with Mr. O'Keefe's death. The rest of the unprofessional and regrettable comments are something I'm not proud of, and I shouldn't have wrote in a private or any type of setting.
Sir, at some point, if I could turn your attention to page 2540. And there's a photograph that's shared within this text communication, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And does it indicate who shared that photograph? From the prior page, possibly.
The number ending in 5051.
And who is depicted in that photograph that was shared within the group text?
It's Miss Reed being escorted out of the State Police Milton Barracks.
And these are all from February 1st of 2022, around that time frame, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, sir, if I could direct you to page 2543. And sir, if I could direct you to the top of the page and ask you to read through that page indicating who's speaking and what the content of those communications are.
Okay. Number ending in 4146. Question, is that chick a smoke? Again, 4146 question mark. I respond EH. I respond again, nut bag, as Chief would say. I also respond with, she's got a leaky balloon knot, leaks poo.
And what, if anything, is that in reference to, sir?
Again, to misread some medical conditions there. Again, unprofessional comments I should not have made, and that I'm not proud of.
As far as attitudes expressed within these text messages and other text messages, what, if any, impact did that have as far as your investigation was concerned regarding this?
These juvenile, unprofessional comments have zero impact on the facts and the evidence and the integrity of this investigation. They said these are unprofessional comments, but they absolutely do not detract from the integrity of the investigation or the facts and evidence of it.
Your Honor, may I approach this retrieve?
Yes.
Now, Trooper Proctor, contained within, you've seen text messages amongst yourself and a variety of different people from that same sort of iCloud area of your personal phone, correct?
Correct.
And among those, are there communications that you had with members of the Canton Police Department?
Yes.
And how would you characterize, or what was the general content of communications that you had with members of the Canton Police Department?
One communication was to coordinate interview times for firefighters and police officers and to set up a conference room where those interviews could be conducted. Obviously, the presence of Canton detectives or any police officers were not going to be sitting in on these interviews. Another communication was to inquire of relevant security videos that are in the area. Their local department, they know the area very well, so I reached out and asked if there's some good cameras in the area that I had of kind of interest in.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm showing you another document, just ask if you recognize that.
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that to be, sir?
Text communications between my sister and I.
That's your sister Courtney, is that correct?
That's correct.
And similar to what I'd asked you about the prior packet, as far as a first message sent, date and time, last message sent, date and time, what is indicated on this first date?
First message sent, date, time, December 10th, 2021 at 9:33 p.m. Last message sent, 8:30, 2022 at 8:48 p.m.
And 8:30, that's August 30th, is that correct?
I'm sorry, yes, August 30th, 2022.
And similarly to the other messages, is there an indication as far as how many number of messages were sent between yourself and your sister over that time period?
2,865.
And fair to say that the documents in front of you do not contain 2,865 messages?
Correct.
Now, just in reference to the first message on page 2662, the first page in this packet, do you see that from December 10th of 2021 at approximately 9:33 p.m.?
Yes.
And what does that indicate?
A text message from my sister.
And what does it say?
I called earlier, Dolph earlier, and Mom was puking in the background.
And do you recall what that was in regard to?
From the sounds of it, my mother had the stomach bug.
And sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2667. And these are text messages from January 29th, 2022, between yourself and your sister Courtney, correct?
Correct.
And if you could read from the top of the page through the end, and please indicate to the jury as far as who's talking and who's saying what.
So I texted my sister at work, "What's up?" She responds, "What? Why?" I respond, "Oh, just found it frozen to death on a front lawn in Canton this morning. Actually, just interviewed Jen McCabe. Said she knows you."
And the knows you, who are you referring to?
My sister.
And how did your sister respond to that?
Cut the shit. I responded, "You." It was a typo correction with my response to you. She responded, "Yeah, she knows Jack very well. She's really good friends with Julie." My sister continues on. Her sister is married to Brian Albert. My sister asks, "You still working?" ? I says, "Yeah, gonna be out for a while. Homicide."
And as far as your answers to those questions, or as far as your communications that you had with your sister at this time on the afternoon of January 29th, what were those in regard to, or why were you communicating that to your sister?
At that time, it was just kind of in the news. I was just kind of letting her know I was out working. She didn't share anything specific. I wouldn't share anything specific on cases with my family or anyone. It was just kind of an overall innocent conversation.
Now, turning your attention to the next page, 2669. Again, if you could read from that page as far as who is talking and what the content is.
All right. My sister starts off, "The Canton thing is a homicide." I respond, "This is at 3 in the afternoon on the 29th. Don't say a word to anyone." She said, "Of course not." I respond, "In the very least, it's suspicious." She responds, "This is your livelihood." And then I would never miss with that. 3:07, I respond, "Julie and Chris were at the bar with the victim and girlfriend. Got to interview them."
I'd like to direct your attention to page 2672. These are messages from February 1st, 2022, is that correct?
Correct.
And the one at the top starts about February 1st, 5:57 p.m., is that correct?
Yes.
And again, if you could read through as far as who's speaking and what the content of those messages are.
I texted my sister, "What's up?" She responded, "Nothing. I just saw Julie, and she said when this is all over, she wants to get you a thank you gift." And I respond, "Get Elizabeth one." Elizabeth's my wife. And my sister responds, "Because I guess her and Chris were friends with John, and she's so proud of you for leading this." And then she writes, "Elizabeth?" ? I respond, "She's been stuck with the kids for the last 10 nights. My sister responded, "Yeah, but she knew what life is like married to a cop."
And sir, as far as the gift that's mentioned as far as Julie Albert, is that anything that you had received at any point in time?
I never received a gift. I never asked for a gift. My wife never received a gift. She never asked for a gift.
So how would you describe this context of this conversation, or why that's being discussed at this time?
Again, I don't know the thought process of my sister and Julie as far as bringing that idea of a gift into play. Like I said, I didn't ask for one. I never received one. The same with my wife.
Sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2676. And again, if I could ask you to start at the top of the page and read through and just indicate as far as who is saying, who is speaking and what they're talking.
I start out, "We write like 8 to 12 warrants on each case." My sister responded, "No, I have no idea what the hell you do or how it works." I responded on the 10th at 7:36 p.m. I'm starving, but I also just want to go home. Thanks, though. My sister responds, yeah, but is dinner going to be waiting? She responded with, ha, ha, ha. And then I responded, yep. And then my sister responded with, okay, it's fine. Mom and I just don't want to go home.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Another document, sir, do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that?
This is private messages between my wife and I.
Again, what is your wife's name?
Elizabeth.
And what, if anything, does that indicate as far as dates and times and number of messages involved?
Okay, so the first message sent 5/20/2022 at 6:19 p.m. The last message sent 8/31/2022 at 9:16 p.m.
And what, if any, indication does it give as far as number of messages within that text chain?
1,632.
And of those 1,162, there's one message that's listed on that, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is the date and time of that message, and what does it say, and who is speaking?
This is me speaking on June 9th, 2022 at 4:56 p.m. I text my wife, waiting to lock this whack job up.
And what are you referring to in that text, sir?
I'm referring to the arrest after Ms. Reed was indicted by the grand jury.
And again, as far as the terminology that you use in that text message to your wife, why is that?
Again, unprofessional messages I should not have sent. I don't have an explanation other than they're regrettable and it's something I'm not proud of, the language I used.
May I approach to retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes. All right, so Trooper Proctor, the jurors can't hear you. So speak directly into your microphone the way I'm doing, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Maybe approach on this one.
Okay.
Unmuted.
Now, Trooper Proctor, you're familiar with conversations that within the same text communications from your personal phone with colleagues of yours at the state police?
Yes.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Sorry. May I have a moment with counsel?
Okay.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Showing you another document, sir. Before I get into that, though, if I could turn your attention back to some of the comments on the language used in the January 29th and February 1st or 2nd text communications among your friend group. With reference to at that particular time frame in the language that you used, what sort of information had you gathered to that point, and why would you say or use that particular language in your, particularly in your descriptions of the defendant?
So this was, 16, 18 hours later, and we conducted multiple interviews.
Speak up.
Conducted multiple interviews. We knew Mr. O'Keefe never went into Fairview Road. We knew there was one shoe at the scene, one shoe at the hospital. Mr. O'Keefe's, based off Mr. O'Keefe's injuries, Miss Reed's statements when Sergeant Buchanan and I interviewed her,
Wait, hold up. How in the fuck he knows that O'Keefe never went into 34 Fairview Road? How does he know? How did he come to the conclusion that he never entered the house?
broken taillight, the missing taillight, some taillight pieces found at the scene, the compelling evidence pointing directly at Miss Reed that she struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle led me to make those comments. Whether, like I said, they weren't professional comments, but based on the day's investigation, it was clear that Miss Reed had struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
if I could turn your attention to the documents before you, do you recognize those?
I do.
And as far as the participants in that particular conversation, who are the participants listed there?
It's Trooper David DeChico and myself.
And Trooper DeChico and yourself both work within the same unit with the state police, is that correct?
That's correct.
And beyond the professional relationship you have with yourself, between yourself and Trooper DeChico, how would you characterize your relationship, generally speaking?
We're buddies, you know, we golf together, hang outside of work, you know, our kids play together, so I'd say, you know, we're friends.
Now, within the, again, as far as the first message sent, date and time, and last message sent, date and time within this conversation, if you could describe that for the jury.
First message sent, date and time, March 17th, 2022, 11:08 a.m. Last message sent, date and time, August 18th, 2022, 6:08 a.m.
And again, the number of messages listed within this text chain.
87.
And fair to say the documents before you do not contain 87 text messages, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Now, just in general terms, if you have an opportunity to just look at the first couple pages there, fair to say those are just sort of jokes that you have going back and forth between yourself and Trooper DeChico, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, if I could turn your attention specifically to page 2632. And these are text messages starting on April 28th, 2022 at 10:52 in the morning. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what was the time again, sir?
April 28th, 2022, 10:52 a.m.
Yes, correct.
And again, sir, with reference to this page, if you could read the content to the jury and please indicate whom is speaking at each respective times.
Okay. I start out without a doubt. He's got diarrhea of the mouth too. Trooper DeChico, rookie move, not going into a meeting with the ME and getting that homicide determination. I respond, Yuri and I had 2 conference calls with her, sent her numerous photos, etc. We laid out the entire case for her. Trooper DeChico responds, not good enough, should have had me or Jeff do it. I respond, if you two did it, she would have made it accidental or natural causes.
And can you explain the context of those communications, or what exactly is it that you and Trooper DeChico are talking about in that communication?
Okay, so the ME is the medical examiner. They conducted the autopsy of Mr. O'Keefe. Our office, it's kind of a little bit of a locker room.
Hold on, wait for the ambulance and then speak up. The jurors can't hear you way back where the court officer's standing.
So like I said, the ME stands for medical examiner. They conducted the autopsy of Mr. O'Keefe. I guess I'll address the conference calls Sergeant Buchanan and I had with the medical examiner. The doctor had some questions as to the facts and evidence, kind of what had transpired, which is common. You know, even if it's a homicide, I've had many calls with the medical examiner's office, even if it's a suicide or overdose, always with a homicide, the doctor wants to know what transpired. Trooper DeChico and myself, we kind of like to bust each other's chops, go back and forth. So that's what he meant by saying, rookie move, not going into a meeting with the ME and getting that homicide determination. The original determination came back.
Sustained. Next question, Mr. Lally.
Now, as far as attending the autopsy, is that something that typically someone within your office would do, within your unit would do with regard to any sort of death investigation?
Yes.
And do you know who attended the autopsy of Mr. O'Keefe in this specific case?
Trooper Connor Keefe.
And so as far as Trooper DeChico's reference to you not going in, or Sergeant Buchanan not going in, is that what you believe Trooper DeChico was referring to in that message?
Objection.
Sustained as to the form.
You indicated that you and Trooper DeChico bust each other's chops. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And can you describe a little more, expound upon that as far as the nature of your relationship and sort of the text messages that you exchange in this and then other communications that you have?
Basically just, kind of needling each other, and him doing that is by texting me, rookie move, not going into meeting with the medical examiner. So that's a perfect example of him kind of just needling me, which we do on a daily basis.
And as far as your interpretation of that, did you interpret that as a serious comment or something said in jest?
I interpreted that as a typical joke from Trooper DeChico.
May I approach to retrieve?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Showing you another document, asking, do you recognize that?
Yes.
Do you recognize that to be?
Text messages between myself and Trooper DeChico.
And again, what is the first message sent, date and time, last message sent, date and time, and number of messages contained therein?
First message sent, date and time, April 28th, 2022 at 1:09 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, April 28th, 2022, 4:45 p.m.
And the number of messages, sir?
4.
And if you could read the contents of those messages contained therein. Please indicate who's speaking.
So I started out, of course, it's undetermined. She was a whack job. Trooper DeChico responds, "Dear God, WTF, what the hell is inconclusive about the whole thing?"
And as far as your indication there, as far as she was a whack job, who are you referring to there?
Miss Reed.
Now, as far as the undetermined of what you're talking about, what is sort of the content or the context of this conversation?
That would be the manner of death was determined to be undetermined by the medical examiner's office.
And so I ask you again, as far as your reference there in the bottom of the first page, as far as she was a whack job, whom do you believe you're referring to there?
Again,
Reed or the medical examiner?
Miss Reed.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Got a little lull here. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you Delphi maniacs. This is an important case. And you'd rather be circle jerking somewhere than actually paying attention to what's going on here. But it's fine. You're obsessed maniacs. Enjoy the obsession. Keep digging into my kids. It's interesting. Very interesting, you fucking psychos. Anyway, I do have some real nice treats lined up for you all. You'll be finding out. I'm not going to announce it, give it away, or even hint. I got some real nice treats lined up. A lot of mind-blowing stuff, actually. Tell you what, the defense attorneys for Richard Allen are they're being the most stupid fucking assholes I've ever seen. I mean, they've gone from like okay to fucking stupid. I don't know what the obsession with Brad Holder is. It's like you guys like you fucking Richard Allen over by obsessing over Brad Holder. I don't know if they'll get their head out of the sand though. I don't know if they'll pull their heads out of their asses. It's a dead end with Brad Holder. I'm sorry to say, in my opinion.
I take just a second, Phil Council.
All right, can we get the show on the road, attorneys? This trial is taking forever, and remember, I'm only showing you highlights here. Yeah, Brad Holder's a dead end for the most part, and I don't know, Rozzy and Baldwin. I just think their heads up their ass at this point. It's like you were so laser focused on Brad Holder, but have you even spoken with Tina Rodell? I mean, it's fucking stupid, man. And the whole denying that Richard had anything to do with it. Like, I'm pretty sure Richard did have something to do with it. And do they have evidence of that? Like, are you guys sitting on evidence from discovery that Richard was indeed involved? Is that why your head's up your asses? So you got evidence that Richard is involved that you're not disclosing because you're trying to just keep him off the hook. And then you're laser focused on Brad Holder because you're trying to do one of these jobs, railroad it, and put it all on Brad Holder. Seems like he's probably innocent. So now you're fucked because you chose the wrong guy to try to, shift the blame onto. I think Richard was involved with some of the Kokomo guys. So I mean, come on, man. Should have talked to Tina Rodell. You should have told Richard to do a plea deal for his involvement with those guys, and he should have gave up all the other guys. I mean, that would be the best case scenario. Fucking talk about Delphi. But you guys are something else. It's funny as fuck sitting here. I cannot believe my eyes.
You are unmuted.
May I approach the witness, Sean?
Yes.
They're handing you another set of documents. Review those, look up when you're finished. Do you recognize those, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
Another text thread between myself, Trooper DeChico, and Trooper Kokowski.
And Trooper Kaskowski is another trooper within your unit in the state police, is that correct?
Yes.
And again, if you could read from the first message sent, date and time, and the last message sent, date and time.
First message sent, date and time, 5/24/2022, 9:21 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, 8/24/2022, 4:56 p.m.
And as far as the number of messages indicated within this text chain between yourself, Trooper Kakowski, and Trooper DeChico,
494.
fair to say the documents before you do not contain 494 text messages, correct?
Correct.
Just in reference to that first page, 2635, first message sent, that's May 24th, 2022, around 9:21 p.m., is that correct?
Yes.
And that's a message sent from Trooper Kaskowski, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is that?
Appears to be a picture of a toy Santa Claus.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2644. If I could direct you to the bottom of the page, sir, you see the text from yourself at June 9th, 2022 at 11:19 p.m.
Yes.
Very bottom of the page. And Your Honor, may I approach just to point it out?
Yes.
Yeah, I see it, sir. Okay.
If you could read what you wrote on June 9th, 2022, around that time, sir.
If you like women who shit themselves.
And again, sir, what is it that you're referring to there?
Again, a regrettable comment I made about Miss Reed's medical condition.
Now, if I could direct you to the following page, 2645. And again, if you could read from that page as far as who is, and indicate to the jury who is speaking and what is being said on page 2645.
I'm speaking right now. The statement she made tonight at 8/7 was mental. Thank Christ it was on BWC, which is body worn camera. Trooper Kokowski responds, that's her, smoke. Trooper Kokowski again, what'd she say? I respond, said the Alberts beat the shit out of O'Keefe, left him for dead, and that's why her taillight was cracked. She's gross. Trooper DeChico, oh, fuck her, bitch.
Thank you, sir. May I approach you, retrieve your arm?
Yes.
Sir, with reference to that last bit, as far as June 9th, 2022, what was going on that day in reference to this matter again?
Miss Reed was being processed at the Milton Barracks.
Thank you. If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'll give you another set of documents to recognize those.
I do.
what do you recognize those to be?
Another text thread with members from my office, troopers.
And who are the troopers that are listed within that?
Trooper Chris Moore, Trooper Jeff Kukowski, Lieutenant John Fanning, Trooper Dave DeChico, and Sergeant Yuri Buchanan.
And what is the first message sent, date and time?
That would be 5/26/2022 at 8:19 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, 8/26/2022, 5:36 p.m.
And what is listed as far as the number of messages within this chain?
651.
And fair to say the documents before you do not contain all 651 of those messages within this chain, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2682. You see a message sent from Trooper DeChico on August 17th, 2022 at 9:42 p.m.
Yes.
And is that an image contained on the next page, which is 2683?
Yes, it is.
And what is the image of?
That is a picture of Mr. Yannetti, appears to be from quite some time ago.
Now, turning your attention to the next page, 2684. And there's a response from you, August 17th, 2022 at 9:44 p.m. Is that correct?
Sorry, sir, go with the date and time again, please.
Sure. Page 2684, 8/17/2022, 9:44 p.m.
Yes,
You see there's like sort of three
Yeah.
responses from you.
I have you now.
If you could just read the three responses from yourself, sir.
Okay, so these came from me. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. No nude so far. I hate that man. I truly hate him.
Now, with reference to the investigation at this point, when you're talking about his client's phone, who are you referring to?
Miss Reed.
And with regards to the phone at that point, can you describe for the jury sort of what's going on during this time period of August 17, 2022 in regard to Ms. Reed's phone?
So after obtaining a search warrant for Miss Reed's phone, we weren't able to extract any data from it until August of 2023. Troopers in my office knew I was going through the phone that evening. I was most interested in location data, text messages, Google searches. That was the update I gave the troopers in the office. It was a distasteful joke. I should have gave a proper update instead of that. I wasn't able to go through the phone as thoroughly as possible because I came across some a text between an attorney and Miss Reed, so I had to stop going through her phone, and I made my supervisor aware of those communications.
Now, just in reference to what you had just said, this is in August of 2022, is that correct?
Correct.
So after a search warrant is obtained for the defendant's phone, where did it go? You indicated you gave it to Trooper Garino, and where did it go from there?
Trooper Garino essentially hooks it up to a device called Gray Key, where it tries every possible combination passcodes in order to access the data contained in the phone.
And at that time, when you retrieved it pursuant to the search warrant, you didn't have the passcode to the defendant's phone, is that correct?
Correct.
So that device is designed to sort of go through numbers and try to find a combination to get into the phone, correct?
Correct.
And so from the time that you had seized it in late January or on January 29th, 2022, until this date in August of 2022, had you been able to get into the phone or see anything in the phone in those intervening months or 7 months between January and August?
No.
And so then at this time that you're sending this text message in August of 2022, is that around the time that you were first able to access the phone?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yes, that was the first time we were able to have access to the phone.
And with reference to your access to the phone, Were you looking for nudes or anything like that in regard to the defendant?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Like I stated, I was most interested in Miss Reed's location data, text communications, Google searches, things of that nature. More evidence contained within the phone.
And so, sir, you mentioned at some point you came across some information that caused you to sort of freeze your looking through the phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so, as far as that specific time period in August of 2022, when was the next time that you or any troopers from your office were able to actually look at any extraction of the defendant's phone?
So once I came across that text communication that took place on the 29th between Ms. Reed and an attorney, the phone had to be sent off to what they call a taint team to remove any attorney-client privilege information from the phone, and then it would be returned to us, as well as defense received a copy of that as well. I'm not positive on the time. It was quite a long turnaround for that process to be completed.
Sometime at least in the spring or summer of 2023. Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right.
May I approach to retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to see you at sidebar so I don't interrupt your cross.
So we got another sidebar. We're just about done for the day. So is everyone satisfied with what's going on here? Just wait until cross-examination. That'll be tomorrow. It's real disappointing how the prosecutor here chose to break the news easy to the jury with all of this disgusting commentary and immature behavior. Really trying to soften the blow. But I don't think it's going to work because when Mr. Jackson comes for cross-examination, you're going to see he kind of highlights the outrageousness. And, you know, imagine that this guy immediately comes to the conclusion or jumps to the conclusion that she hit him with a vehicle because her taillight is cracked, not thinking that there could be some other way by which her taillight becomes cracked. Even though all the injuries to his body appear that he's got the shit kicked out of him and bit by a dog, he comes to the conclusion that he never went in the house because of people, because his wife's friends said he never went in the house. I don't know. I bet he did go in the house for a baby daddy. I bet he did. But it never happens. People will say it never happens. People never conspire.
You are unmuted.
All right, so just
Here we go.
before you start then, so we'll finish at 4. We're trying to figure out scheduling this time. I'm going to meet with the lawyers and witnesses. We're trying to work all that out, but as it looks right now, I thought it was going to interfere with another day this week. As it looks right now, it may not. At the most, it will be half an afternoon or something, maybe on Friday. But it does now look good that we'll be able to continue with this. We're out tomorrow, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be full days, and we'll be able to keep moving. All right. All right, Mr. Jackson, go right ahead.
Trooper Proctor, in the summer of 2022, August 17th specifically, you were sitting at your desk, presumably alone at your office, at about 10 p.m. at night, going through my client's personal cell phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, you were sitting there texting with your friends and colleagues at Massachusetts State Police about you going through her personal cell phone. Is that right?
Correct, sir.
And that included Trooper DeChico, is that right?
DeChico, yes, sir.
Trooper Fanning, Trooper Buchnick, Trooper Moore, and Trooper Kutzkowski.
Kakowski.
Tell me that again.
Kakowski.
Kakowski.
Yes, sir.
All right, all the consonants are silent. Fair enough. Trooper Fanning and Trooper Buchnick are your supervisors.
Yes.
And you were bragging to all 5 of them that you were going through Karen Reed's cell phone about 9:45 at night.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that right?
No, I wasn't bragging, sir.
How did you refer to Ms. Reed in that text exchange where you informed them that you were going through her phone?
I used regrettable language. I said going through his retarded client's phone right now.
You were shown a photograph of my colleague, Mr. Unetti, correct?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Same document. Oh, Your Honor, I think the court has the copy that I was going to use.
I thought I gave him back to you.
You'd received a photograph. Actually, Your Honor, if I could, I would ask that this document be marked as next in order. Assuming that the witness verifies its authenticity.
So go ahead.
Do you recognize this document?
I do, sir.
Same document that you were shown, copy of the same document that you were shown by Mr. Unetti, correct?
Still Lally.
I've done that twice. Mr. Lally.
Correct.
All right. Is that a true and accurate reflection of the text messages that you were exchanging with Chris Moore, Jeff Kakowski, John Fanning, Vito DeChico, and Yuri Buchanan?
Okay, guys, welcome in, welcome in. Look, I just decided that I want to do the cross exam on a different show. So like, I'll do another show, the third part, where we'll just do the cross examination of Michael Proctor. Because otherwise this show's going to go too long. It'll be more than another hour, and I don't want to go that long. So what I'll do now is we'll pause it, and I'll do another show where I do the whole cross-examination in one show. It sounds good. Better way to do it. So anyhow, Yeah, Fur Baby Daddy, thanks for being here. Icy Cat. Brittany was here. She's not interested. Scott left. Scott was here. And everyone, Chevy Killer, everyone who was here earlier, thanks for being here. I'll give you about another minute before I shut it down to see if anyone has any final comments. Please hit the like. Hit the like. Please send a super chat, super thanks if you're on the replay. Support the channel. We still have our GoFundMe. I have a GoFundMe. I have a bunch of support pathways. Please support the channel. And hit the like. And we'll see you on another installment where we do the cross-examination of Michael Proctor for all of these outrageous text messages. Anyhow, it's a pretty important case. The Delphi people are being assholes. They don't want to come watch, so that's fine. I'll call it a night. And I got something special for them anyway, coming right up. So thanks for everyone for coming and being here, those who were here. What a shit show.